Yes, guys, welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. It is Friday, and boy, is it a big week. This is the last blank, or biggish blank game week of the season. We think we might get another one, 37, but it's such a big one. There are 5 game weeks to go in FPL, and we are here with Dean Jones and with Bigman Backer and with all of our lovely chasers, including birthday boy himself, Malachi Fox from Ireland. Thank you so much for joining, mate. Yeah, birthday wishes from all the CGA team. Dean, over to you.
Yeah, happy birthday, Malachi. You know what? It's obviously like 6 a.m. here. I feel like my wife every morning puts those things on underneath their eyes, those stickers, like a lot of people are wearing them. I need those today. I feel like I need those. But yeah, I'm good. This is big. This is the last chance to really save my season. It's not been a bad season, but this is the chance to make it a good season. So I've got a team that we're going to look at in a bit, my free hit team, and I'm open to ideas because I don't feel it's quite rogue enough to give me a big enough jump. So yeah, let's see what happens, but I'm willing to take a couple of risks this week.
I like that very much. Big man, how are you doing? How was your week last week with chips in play, and how are you set for the week ahead? Have you got to save your season like me and Dean, or are you cruising all right?
Hello, Gianni. Hello, Dean. Hello, welcome to all the listeners and viewers. I did all right. I scored 81 points. The bench boost didn't do all that well, but my first 11 did pretty well. I had KPR, so it was nice to get some differential points from him. Henderson in the previous game did well in the first game, so it was an all right week. I'm now sitting at 80K, and hopefully with a good free hit to come, I can potentially get in the top 50K, which I think will be a respectable finish. And I'm actually on 9 straight green arrows. So I'm hoping I can continue that streak till the end of the season. I think that's something I'm really looking forward to.
Oh, if you manage 14 green arrows on the trot, that would be amazing. And yeah, good to hear, mate. You are, of course, former world number 4, for those that don't know, Mr. Bigman Backer, by the way. Cameron Starr's become a YouTube member. Cam has been a regular watcher of the show. So, Cam, thank you very much. Hope you and Daisy are well. And thanks for being a YouTube member. As an elite chaser, Dean, what does Cam get for that?
Does that mean he's in the WhatsApp group? Hope so.
I'm not sure.
I think so. Obviously, yeah, we've got support the channel, get some extra videos. Didn't do any of those last week. Just get some extra videos.
I did.
Oh yeah, you did actually. Yeah, you did. And ultimately, the best reason to become a member is to get into the WhatsApp group. Like, I genuinely think that is the best thing that you can get out of it. So hopefully Cam is in that group. Because we need a new addition. Actually, we've had a steady ship for a little while now. We could do with someone to come in and rock the boat, wind people up. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's still going 24/7, mate. Like, that chat does not stop. So yeah, welcome on board, Cam. Thanks for joining.
Well, I've just, talking of some soft chat, I've just messaged my WhatsApp group to say I'm live on CGA with Bigman and Dean for an hour. So if you want to see the template free hit draft, then come and watch us, because Bigman, I'm hoping you put together a nice template looking free hit. Are you going for any road picks, or is it 7 penalty takers?
Yeah, most of them will be penalty takers, surprise, surprise. But I don't think this template is that strong this week, Gianni, to be very honest, because when you look at the fixtures this week, there are a lot of heavy favorites. You look at the likes of Newcastle, Fulham, you look at Liverpool, you look at Chelsea to a certain extent, even Newcastle are really, really big favorites, actually. So, all these teams playing against the promoted teams give us a big variety of options to pick from, even Bournemouth to a certain extent. So I think it is very strong to actually form a very strong template this week. And there will be a variety in a lot of teams that you see, whether it is in the YouTube circles or in the analytics circles. A lot of different teams will emerge eventually. And I think while you might think that your team is template, I think by the time when you look at and compare it to the other teams after deadline, I'm pretty sure you have a few differentials in there.
Yeah, okay, nice. So I look forward to seeing that. So in today's show, we are going to, of course, make the focus about free hit. I'm not on free hit, but Dean and Bigman are. Nevertheless, all 3 of us are going to show you a Bigman team, and I promise you, all 3 will be quite different. We're also going to touch at the end of the show, for those on Wildcard, because that's what I'm on. And Bigman, I'm delighted to hear you've also put together a Wildcard draft, which I'm really pleased to hear, because I might take some inspiration from that. So yeah, stay tuned if you're on Wildcard to the end of the show. But this is all about free hit right here and now. Before we discuss individual drafts, I wanted to get cracking just on captaincy from the off, so then we don't have to deviate away from towards the end of the show. We'll do a poll. Where are you at with captaincy, guys? We'll put 3 names up there. We'll put Salah and Isak, it's too obvious. We'll also chuck Cunha into the mix. And then we'll put other. Now, whilst you guys are voting, we're going to have a couple of minutes chat on team news and then go to captaincy so we can react to the poll. So, in terms of team news, where are we at? Bigman, what have you seen today?
I mean, there've been this quote on Trent and Bradley, actually, that where Slot was sort of referring to Trent being there, which is why Bradley hasn't started each game. The reading that I got between the lines and what he was saying was that I expect Trent to start, but obviously because he's not fully fit, I think he'll probably get substituted early. I personally don't feel as if it's worth going for Trent on the free hit because the risk of him getting sub before 60 it's not worth taking on. I don't think, especially when you have other defenders who are secure for minutes. I think Trent is probably a no-go on the free hit, and that's what I sort of got from what Slot was saying.
Yeah, you know what? Like I'm a bit worried about the fact that at the moment in my free hit team, so obviously I've got Salah, and then I'm looking for more Liverpool. As we'll see in a minute, I have put Luis Diaz in for now, but there's I haven't had Trent all season. If I'm ever going to have Trent, then this is my only week it's ever going to happen, and I've got the money in the bank. And so I think I might have to come around to that way of thinking. I've kind of contemplated Van Dijk a little bit. I contemplated the goalkeeper a little bit too. But yeah, you'll have to guide me once you see my team over whether you think it needs a Trent in it, big man. So once we get around to that, I'm looking for your advice.
There's 3 players I would pick on free hit that are minutes risks because of, well, for various issues, various reasons. I would pick all 3 on free hit. I'm not picking any on Wildcard because there's a difference between investing in a minutes risk for 5 games versus the 1. Trent is one of them. I think I'm very confident he starts, and I can't see a pre-60 sub. I can see a 70, 80 minute sub. Trent doesn't tend to come off before 60. So I think I'd go there for the upside. Celebration mode, back the players that have just gone and won us the league. They're going to win us the league at the weekend. Okay. Put that 11 on the pitch. The other one is Sessegnon, and the other one is Cunha. The reason for Cunha is purely Bellegarde is back fit, Dean's boy. And he was missing last week, which is why Cunha came into the 11. With Cunha off, I think Cunha does start. But again, for the run-in, I would expect Cunha to lose some minutes because he's not going to be around next season. But for this week, I think Cunha's fine. But Bellegarde is back fit, so there's a slight worry. And then Sessegnon, again, I think he starts this week. But does Willian, Wilson, Traore, do they get starts for the run-in? Well, they'll all get minutes off him. So Sessegnon's too risky. But for this week, knowing it's Southampton, I still think I'd go there. So there are 3 picks that people are massively up in the air about. Big man, any other ones I've missed there? They're the 3 big ones I think free hitters are sweating on.
Exactly. I mean, I don't think there's any more. Trent was one, Cunha was another, and Sessegnon was the third. Apart from that, you can talk a bit about the Newcastle mids, I guess. There's Shearer as well, and you can Fabian Shearer. I did mention that he expects him to be all right, but I mean, I won't trust out with that, and I think you can just simply go for Livramento for cheaper. I think that pretty much rules out Shearer out of my thinking for my team selection. And yeah, I mean, when you come to the minutes for the Newcastle mids, they're a bit murky. I mean, it's a very important sort of topic of discussion because I fully expect Newcastle to win convincingly. I can see a 3-4 nil dropping against Ipswich. So it's natural to think that while, I'm on a free hit, I would consider doubling up with the Newcastle attack. I am just finding it very difficult to call their minutes. I mean, anyone apart from Isak, I'm really not sure about. Hence, I think I'm looking at doubling up on the defense instead. Because personally, I think that when you Dean mentioned like Clivert can come close to matching the Newcastle mids as opposed to the defenders, because I think the Newcastle defense is actually a level above some of the other defenses that you're probably going to invest in this week. So that's why I like doubling up on the Newcastle defense.
That is bold, not going for double attack though, given it's Ipswich, and the template will be double attack. Dean, how do you feel about Murphy and Barnes with Gordon now back fit? I think Gordon's still got to wait in line. I think it'll be Murphy one side, Barnes the other, and I think it will be Gordon coming on, and I think Barnes off. I I might go so far to say I'll eat my hat if Jacob Murphy does not start this week. He's been so good for Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
Jacob Murphy's nailed for my wildcard team, and he certainly would be for my free hit team.
Yeah, I was considering him yesterday, and I was talking to someone, and I was like, I think Jacob Murphy might even make Team of the Year. Like, if you were to put together a Premier League Team of the Year, I think he's possibly gets the nod. He's definitely in contention for it. So why would he not play? I agree with you. I agree with you. And at the moment, I've got, as we'll see, with 3 kind of Newcastle holders in my free hit draft, and they're not going to be the 3 that stick. But yeah, I think Murphy is the one that I would be going for from an attacking perspective, away from Isak. Isak as captain, it's something I'm tempted by, but I just have trust issues with Newcastle in games that I've had at various times this season when I've been like, yep, they definitely win this easily today. And they don't do it. I'm a little bit worried that we get that Newcastle that turns up at the weekend. But when it's a free hit, you got to just be confident, and you got to have like 3 or 4 teams you were just back in here. And that's where I need to get to with my team. I just want to trust Newcastle. I want to trust Wolves. I want to trust Liverpool, and then trust one other, maybe Bournemouth or something like that, and just like mainly have my team made up of that and just go all in for a big weekend.
I like that. So there we go on team news, guys. It is also worth
I have a couple of
mentioning...
points to add. I have a couple of points to add. Firstly, on the Newcastle mids, I just wanted to say that I think the worst time to actually consider minutes for players is when they're coming on the back. The team's coming on the back of a bad defeat, which was the case against Aston Villa. So you might not know. I mean, Gordon is actually a really good player. So if Howe feels like switching things up after the 4-1, I won't be very surprised. Now, whether he comes in for Murphy or Barnes is a separate argument, but he can come in because of that result.
But not for Murphy. Not for Murphy. Not
maybe
for me.
Not.
If he
maybe
comes
not,
in, it's for Barnes. I'll only eat my hat if Murphy
starts.
Like, Barnes,
even if Murphy starts, even if Murphy starts, he's not getting 90. He's not even getting 80, right? It would be an achievement if he got to 70 because he's getting sub consistently around that 60, 70-minute mark. So I don't personally think it's ideal. And another thing is that because we're looking at making up ground on the free hit, I'm pretty sure that Murphy would be very, very high on the free hit. So I think that's a spot probably worth taking on. And I feel similarly about Mbeumo as well, because I don't think the fixture against Forest is that good enough. So while you were saying that I might go for penalty takers, I'm not exactly considering Mbeumo in my first 11 at least, because I feel as if that a fixture way to Forest is worth taking on. One last point I would like to mention, that Dean mentioned that Newcastle haven't been reliable against teams you'd expect them to win against. I would just like to sort of reiterate that when you look at their results against the bottom 3 this season, they've beaten Southampton 1-0 and 3-1 this season. They've beaten Leicester 4-0 and 3-0 this season. And they've also beaten Ipswich in the reverse fixture. I think it was 3-1 or 4-1. So their results against the teams that are in the bottom 3 have been really strong. They've battered them. So I feel no sort of hesitation tripling up on Newcastle or doubling up on the defense.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I was more caught out on like when they lost to Fulham and they lost to Bournemouth. Those were the ones I remember that really stung me with Newcastle. I think they were the weeks when I was really in on Isak. That's probably the games that really stung me on Newcastle. But obviously, we don't know what we get. They're a good team, and they have still a lot to play for. That's what does help you with the Newcastle picks, is that there's still so much to play for in terms of those European places, and that's why FPL still is interesting, because there are still teams with plenty to play for in those certain positions. There are a lot of teams whose season is seemingly dead. Teams like West Ham, like on fixture wise, I was like, I can see West Ham having a nice end to the season here because they can relax. Like, they're not going to go down. They aren't going to go up. They're not going to go anywhere. But they can treat this as a pre-season and impress Graham Potter for next season. But it doesn't seem they're that keen on doing that the way I've been seeing them play. So, a strange one.
That's put me off.
That fixture is really difficult to call. That fixture is really difficult to call. Out of all the fixtures this week, I'm really struggling to predict Brighton West Ham, because it could be a 0-0, like you mentioned, like a preseason friendly. It could be a 2-2 as well.
Exactly. It could be the highest scoring game. Yeah. Exactly,
because Brighton haven't been that great in recent weeks either, right? So it's 2 out of form teams coming up against each other when neither really has much to play for. So it's one I find it really difficult to predict.
I'm struggling with Brentford Forest, and I'm disappointed to say I've got 5 players in my wildcard team squad from Brentford and Forest, and they've got a terrible entry point. I've got 4 in my 11, but they've got really good run-ins and lots to play for. So I like Forest and I like Brentford on wildcard. It's just a bad entry point. On free hit, I'd maybe just go and Burmo and that'd be it. Guys, we've got loads to get through. Let's just chat captaincy very quickly. Are we all going Mo Salah? And is there much to discuss? I mean, the chat look like the vast majority are on Salah, but of course, Isak's getting a bit of love at 14%, Cunha at 14%, Salah on 67%. Big man, I'll come to you first. Are you team Mo? I am. I'm locked.
Yes, I mean, I think you have to back Mo here because of what you say. It could be a high-scoring game, Liverpool playing for the title, party atmosphere. It could be high-scoring, and Spurs effectively don't have anything to play for, so the matchup is great. And I personally don't feel as if it's something I would personally want to take on because I think I would probably make enough gains on the free hit anyway. So I don't want to really flirt with the captaincy this week. I'll just leave it alone on Captain Salah. I haven't really given it much thought. I've looked at the bookmakers' odds. Salah's clear favorite to score or assist. Isak is second. In terms of the number of goals scored, Liverpool have the highest projection. So I think it's a fairly straightforward choice.
Yeah, I mean, this would be a really silly time to throw away your season just because you didn't captain Mo Salah. I'm willing to take risks this week. Not captaining him on a day when Liverpool potentially win the league and he potentially scores the goals that do it against a Tottenham side that just, they're a disaster, aren't they, at times? So I just find it difficult not to, especially, Wolves scored 4 against this Tottenham team a couple of weeks ago. So who knows what Liverpool could do to them. They could annihilate them, couldn't they? They really could. Their record in the Premier League is just dreadful, heading towards this 20 defeats in a season mark. Tottenham fans won't be going there full of much hope at all. So I'll take some risks this week, but not captaining Salah is not something that I'm going to be doing. I'm sticking with him. He is my captain.
Nice. I think the chat probably agrees. So we won't captaincy much. I think we're big on Salah, and we're probably not deviating from that this week. And we often go into deadlines being like, I might do that, 60-40. Not today. All 3 of us pretty certain on it. In terms of the scout team news, we've told you about Trent and Bradley and Klopp. If you want to go read those comments, do check out Scout for that. But it alludes to the fact it doesn't confirm, and he says Bradley needs to get minutes and he's playing behind Trent, but is Trent ready? Son's still not ready. They've got some injuries. Share as Bigman. They're the big ones. Hwang and Bellegarde expected to feature for Wolves. Could eat into Cunha's minutes. Let's see. João Pedro obviously banned for 3. Matoma fit to start again on the left. Tarkowski's season over. That might be good for Chelsea attackers, and Cole Palmer will be one we might see. I won't see Cole Palmer in Bigman's draft. If we do, we'll discuss him then. So look, let's get to them, shall we? Let's get to some free hit draft. Then we've got some defensive data to show you. Then we'll do wildcards. Is my audio really bad again? Hang on. I thought I fixed my audio. I was going through my headphone jack. Now I'm going through the microphone. I thought it would be all right.
I think your internet's now going choppy rather than your actual audio. Really? You've gone a little bit pixelated as well. Yeah, it just started to cut out a little bit. I can still hear you, but yeah, it did go a little bit. I mean, mate, you're literally sat in the Italian countryside. I don't even know how you got Wi-Fi there.
Yeah, I know. It is remote. I can't get phone signal. I've got Wi-Fi, but I can't make a single phone call since I've been here. Really? Okay, let's see some free hit teams. Producer, feel free to chuck up Dean or Bigman's team, and I'll also show mine. Let's spend a couple of minutes on each. Dean, this is you. Where are you at? Who's locked, who's not?
Okay, so goalkeeper not. Is this definitely my latest team? Let me just double check. Yeah, this is. Yeah, so the goalkeeper TBC, it could well be neither of these two, to be honest. I mean, I might go Sarr / and/or Bentley and just pick the 2 Wolves goalkeepers. I've considered that, but do you know what? Jamie Vardy retiring kind of put me off this a little bit. I'm kind of worrying about Jamie Vardy now scoring. Anyway, so I don't think Sanchez is a bad pick in goal, so I might do that. He's not locked though. Livramento, isn't locked, but that will be a Newcastle defender. The back four probably does stay like that. I think it probably stays like that the rest of the team. The subs bench will probably change, but obviously doesn't really matter. So, but the teams I'm ultimately counting on here are, I want to count on Wolves. So I would like another Wolves player just to go more all in on them. Bringing in another Newcastle player is probably a good idea. And then I'm probably set. So where would you go? I mean, big man, I'll ask you first. Like, what would you? Am I missing? If I was to add a Wolves or a Newcastle, what would you do?
Yeah, I think there are 2 or 3 things I would change. Firstly, I think I would go with 7 attackers instead of 6, because while you're on a free hit, you're looking to maximize upside, and I think that comes with the attackers as opposed to defenders. So I'd go with 7 attackers to start with straight away.
Okay.
Secondly, I think that while Wood is a good pick, his effective ownership is going to be really high, and I think there are better strikers to own this week. Now, for example, the likes of Raul Jimenez, Danny Welbeck, I think they're potentially better options than Wood, and their ownership will be significantly lower. So I think that's a spot where you can differentiate between your squad and the rest of the field, because that's effectively your aim. As you mentioned earlier, you're looking to go for as many differentials as possible. You can potentially look at adding someone like a Sessegnon if you're looking to go all out. I mean, I understand there's a minute's risk there. You're the Fulham guy, so you'll probably know better. But yeah, if you're looking to sort of go all in, then that's something I would consider. And I would definitely have a third Newcastle in the 11 as well. I just think that fixture is primed for points. Now, it depends on you whether you want to go with a midfielder or a second defender like me, but you have to go triple Newcastle.
Yeah, no, I do intend to do that, and there's going to be definitely a bit of playing around to do with this team. Yeah, Wood, do you know what? He wasn't in when I showed my free hit on Monday. He wasn't in it, and then he scored that night, and then he went back in it. So that's why he's in this team at the moment. I had Visser in before that. Had been flirting with Evan Nielsen as well to triple up on Bournemouth beating Man United, which I do think will happen. I haven't seen the team news on Man United today, but obviously Amorim has talked before about playing kids. They're obviously not in great shape anyway. So I'm very confident in that Bournemouth can go and rattle them at the weekend. I don't think I've owned Evan Nielsen, though, all season. He's not a player I particularly trust. So that's why I've got a slight issue with it. What about you, G? What do you think?
Yeah, I like Diaz and Salah. I think Diaz would be a lot for me, and Kluivert, that midfield 3. I'm with Big Man. I guess it's just that third Newcastle, but Big Man is maybe looking at double Newcastle defense. I've looked at double Newcastle attack. I would, without shadow of a doubt, have Murphy. Wood's a really interesting one. I don't think I've owned him all season, which has been my biggest downfall probably. But I still am wildcarding this week with a fine entry point. Like Brentford at home is fine, and I don't own Chris Wood on wildcard. So again, like I struggle to put arguments against Wood because he's been so good, but the underlying data hasn't been great. So yeah, I think you're fine. But yeah, you'll end up going with the extra attacker. It makes sense. But the defenders are all good there, and you'll go 3-4-3. But yeah, looks good.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll change that. I'll change the formation up right now while I'm looking at Bigmans. I'm going to start tinkering already.
Get rid of one of your Chelsea defenders, I guess, because you've got Sanchez, so you could.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I can't have Sanchez and Cucurella. That wasn't really going to be the plan. No.
Let's see Bigman's team. Free hit for Bigman. Let's see how you're looking. I'm curious to know if Cole Palmer, if Owen, if either of them feet. Yeah, thanks for it, Bigman.
Yeah, so if the producer can show the graphic on screen, yes, this is what I have. So Sanchez will be in goal, I think, for me. I think when I look at the defenders that I want, I think I prefer Livramento to Cucurella, which is why I think I would go for Sanchez over Pope. I'll probably go with Jorgensen as well because I don't trust which goalkeeper will start. Sanchez hasn't really started all games this season, but I'll have both Chelsea keepers. I think that game against Everton will be low scoring. It has the feel of a 1-0, maybe a 2-0 Chelsea win. So yeah, I think that's a spot where I'd go with the Chelsea defense. Then I'll double up on the Newcastle fullbacks. Trippier and Livramento sort of pick themselves, as mentioned earlier. The third slot will be Ait Nouri, attacking defender. Great fixture, cheap. So I think it's a good pick as well. I think the 4 in midfield are fairly locked. I think I'll go with Palmer, Salah, Kluivert, and Diaz. I think that's going to be my starting 11, and then up front will be Isak. Now this draft doesn't have Raul, but I'm pretty sure I'll pick Raul because this draft was sent to the producer before the Muniz injury, the news that came out of the press conference. Now that Raul is available, I think I will go with Raul. I think I'll go with Raul over Welbeck if I'm confident in Cunha's minutes, but I'm almost certain that Raul will be in this 11 as well. I mean, I'll just try and...
I knew you'd have Raul Jimenez. I thought he was a proper... I thought you'd go there, and I like it. I think for Southampton, it's a good pick. Like, Muniz isn't around, so you might not get 90. He still always gets hooked, but you'll take 80.
I will take 80, yes, exactly. But 80 is better than 70, which is why I feel that sort of decision has swung it from me. Else I would have gone with Welbeck. Now it's between Cunha and Welbeck, and Raul is pretty much locked in. Because we feel so highly that Liverpool will play well and put on a show against Spurs, I thought that going with Salah alone wasn't enough. And that's why I want to have someone like a Luis Diaz. Very much like Dean had Diaz in his team. I think it's worth having Diaz in that slot over someone like an Mbeumo, just for the upside. I simply expect Liverpool to score more goals, and hopefully Diaz is involved. He recently has a great record against Spurs as well. And then Kluivert, I feel he's a boring pick, but he's someone who's a bit of a forgotten man because a lot of us owned him, let's say 4 or 5 game weeks ago when Bournemouth were in a rich vein of form and they had good fixtures, but then he sort of fell off with the injury. And I think that now, even though he played 90 minutes, I feel as if he's being overlooked to a certain extent on the free hit. And as a penalty taker at home to Man United, I really like him. And I think Palmer will be a bit of a differential on the free hit as well, as crazy as it sounds, because in his form, in his terrible form, I don't think a lot of people will be picking him, especially at that price. And I think this is exactly the kind of spot that I'm looking for: a premium asset playing at home with a decent-ish fixture on penalties, no risk for minutes, semi-differential. I think I want to have Palmer on my team.
I think a lot are going to have Palmer on free hit, mate. They're going to see the bank balance, know they've got money in the bank, see him as a premium and go, he delivers like a premium when he doesn't at the moment.
Mate,
and pick him.
I've seen Palmer on the benches of free hit teams this week.
That is brilliant. But because you're doing it, and I genuinely haven't seen content creators free hits, but I know most of the big YouTubers will be on Palmer just by knowing how they manage. Just like I knew you would be, right? If they all go Palmer and you're on Palmer, the crowd will follow. I reckon, let's do a poll. Is Palmer on your free hit team, yes or no? And please only vote in this poll if you're on free hit. If you're not on free hit, don't vote because it will skew it. But about 75% of you are probably on free hit anyway. I reckon Cole Palmer's going to be in a ton of teams. And I don't like it. I don't think he'd be on mine. Like, I don't dislike it, but he wouldn't be on mine. Like, Cole Palmer's great, fine. But he's been poor. And yes, he comes with pens. And yes, the Everton matchup is good. And yes, there's no Tarkowski. I still think there's 4 other, or maybe even 5 or 6 other better midfielders to pick this week. Dean?
And it's the early kickoff. Like,
is it?
Yeah. So to see a Cole Palmer blank would kill me because I would be kind of like, well, I knew this was going to happen, and now it's ruined my game week. So an incredible fall off from Cole Palmer that absolutely did not see coming. It's quite interesting because obviously my main job is football transfers, and there's been some whispers about Liverpool coming in for Cole Palmer. And I don't think Chelsea would sell him, right? But if anyone was to make an inquiry at this point, I would just put a massive price tag on him and say, yeah, you can have him, but this is what he costs. I just go now. And like, imagine cashing out on him now, and that was actually the best we ever saw from him.
Down now.
But no, I don't think in FPL this week. It obviously, like you say, it's tempting because we've all got so much money to play with. Like, it's crazy on the free hit at the moment because like you can make any transfer you want. Like, you don't even have to. You can go from having like a 4 million defender and say, actually, I want Trent, and it's no problem. You've still got 8 million in the bank, which is basically what I've just done. So yeah, personally, I'm only going to pick Cole Palmer if it's to troll people and stick him on the bench.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. I love that. I'd be putting him on my bench. I wish I'd done that. Big man, I really like this teammate. I like Palmer. I'm kind of, I can't say he's a bad pick because he's not, but he wouldn't be. He's not in my team. But the rest of it, I still think there's a missed opportunity not having double Newcastle attack versus Ipswich. But I understand your reasons not to, I guess. And yeah, you're in good shape.
Yeah, I want to know, while you've sort of mentioned that you like the team, how tempted do you find it to be? I mean, it's difficult to say, isn't it? Is it like fully template? It's semi-template, I would think.
With Raul Jimenez, it makes it more template because that template front three is Cunha, Isak, Raul Jimenez. Obviously, Semenyo's on the bench, so let's ignore him. Everyone's going to have Luis Diaz, Salah, and Clivert. A lot will have Palmer, as we're seeing voting in the chat, over half. So yeah, it's pretty template, mate. Pretty template.
Interesting. I think
they'll all have a Chelsea defender. They'll all have a Newcastle. They'll all have Trippier. Yeah, they'll all have Aït-Nouri. So probably 9 of the 11.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I guess double Newcastle defense. A lot of people have, let's say, a Fulham keeper, a Fulham defender. That's where I'm different. I think Clivert. I don't think Clivert will be in every team. By the way, I think people will go for different players as well. I don't think Clivert will be a template pick. Yes, Raul will be one. But yeah, Clivert will not be a template pick in my opinion.
Yeah. Just to indulge for a second, Eddie asked if Man United are going to buy Cunha, and British said Man United can't even afford Cunha. It's obviously the story of the week. It's gone pretty crazy considering it's like April and they're talking about it like it's a done deal. Man United have basically looked at Cunha and he wants to join them, which is a massive thing for Man United. Like not as many people want to join them anymore. And so the fact that he's got Premier League experience, he's got good goal output, he wants to join them, and he has a release clause, means he kind of ticks all of the boxes they're looking for in that number 10 position for next season. And the clause that's there of 62.5 million can be paid in installments. So Man United actually can afford to go and buy Cunha. So as long as he doesn't go and get injured in the next few weeks or do something stupid in terms of discipline, I do think Man United will end up signing Cunha. Make up your mind on how much that changes Man United for next season. I don't know. Like, this is a guy that is massively outscoring his XG. But to be honest, so was Bruno Fernandes when he joined United. He was scoring a lot of long ranges at Sporting and continued to do so at Old Trafford. The interesting one for me will be the striker because Liam Delap, I'm not convinced by as like your big signing that transforms Man United from being 14th in the Premier League to becoming 3rd or 4th in the Premier League. I like Liam Delap a lot, but he's got 12 Premier League goals in his life. And if you're comparing him to Victor Osimhen, who scored 10 times as many goals at the top level and is only a few years older, that's not a comparison. So yes, Victor Osimhen would cost you way more in wages, but there's a reason for that. He's like a world-class striker and Liam Delap's not. So keep an eye on it. But yeah, for Cunha, these are a big few weeks because it's very likely that he is leaving to join Man United.
Love that. Cheers, Dean, for that update. If you are just joining, Dean is our resident transfer expert and is a journalist, but also FPL enthusiast. And we're also joined by Bigman backer, former world number 4 in FPL, an elite top-tier manager. And this is his free hit team on screen. We would love you to consider subscribing to Chasing Green Arrows if you are new around here. And if you've watched us before, just check your subscribe because I guarantee there'll be 100 of you watching that perhaps think you are that aren't. Hit that subscribe button with the notification bell. We'll also be early live in the morning, 8 a.m. UK time. We're doing an early deadline stream just for an hour before all the other YouTubers go live, 8 till 9, me and Big Man answering your questions. So come back tomorrow. Hit the like now, hit the subscribe. You can comment below if you're watching on catch up as well. Let me briefly take you through my free hit team. I'm not on free hit. I've probably not given it the thought Bigman and Dean have given it, but I just want to show you my team. But also we've got some defense data, which I think we promised to show you as well. So we've just spoken about Cole Palmer. We can see Everton recently have been a top defense, as have randomly Brentford. But we'll show you my team first. It's a few risky picks like Sessegnon. I would be happy risking that. I've gone on Burmo. We haven't discussed Burmo in detail. He'd be an even against Forest. I'd have a 5-man midfield that includes Jacob Murphy as part of an attacking Newcastle double up. I wouldn't have Raul Jimenez. He is on the bench. And I don't feel precious really about the guys on the bench being in the 11, but this is the 11 I'd go with. It'd definitely be this 11. And I have given it enough thought, I guess, all week. I don't think much has changed. This is what I showed you on Monday. I don't want to hang around on this because I'm not on it. We still want to get to wildcard chat, and we've got loads of data to look through as well. So let me just show you that defense data real quick, and then we'll show you the where are you, Gianni? There's no way it's blue skies like that in England. Yeah, thanks, Gary. I'm in Italy for 3 months. You'll get used to this backdrop. So yeah, the defense data we've got. And by the way, Luis Diaz, is he guaranteed to start, says Ice G? He should start. I think Slot goes for the 11 that's won him the Premier League, and therefore players like Trent and Diaz I expect to be in the 11. He did play Diaz number 9 last week in Gakpo on the left, and then at 60 brought Jota on and moved Diaz to the left and Jota obviously down the middle, and Gakpo came off. I expect Diaz to start, whether it's left or central. I think it'll probably be Jota number 9. Top defences. This is the last 11 game weeks, not 10 as it says, but over the last 11 weeks, we can see it's filtered by goals conceded. Arsenal 8 goals conceded, but top defences, Wolves, Brentford and Everton all in the top 5. Now, when we flip this to expected goals conceded, let's see the next chart. Wolves, Brentford, Everton, 3 of the best defences for goals conceded. Where are they for XGC? We'll just flip that chart now. Oh, someone's like lit a barbecue and it's really smoky where I am. Expected, here we go. And Bigman, I want your thoughts on these defences. Wolves aren't in the top 5, but they're not far off it. Everton and Brentford featuring again. Are you surprised by that? Like, are they underrated? Like Brentford, we never think of as a good defence, but the last 11 game weeks, they've been pretty useful, as have Everton, and they've played Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal in that time.
Yes, I mean, Everton, since Moyes has come over, has become an even better defence than they were under Dyche, so that's something. Brentford have been a bit of a surprise because, a lot of us owned Flecken early in the season, and Brentford were basically woeful. So that's surprising to see. But if you look at their data sort of over the course of the season, the numbers aren't all that great. So I'm not sure how much I read into that. But apart from that, Arsenal, Liverpool have been consistent over the course of the season. Chelsea, it's important to know that there are a lot of home games in there for Chelsea, and they perform well in home games. You see home games against Leicester and Southampton, which obviously skews the data to a certain extent, and that's why I'm actually looking to get at least one sort of Chelsea defender or keeper in my team, Sanchez, because of numbers like that and because their home numbers recently have been very strong.
Yeah, nice. Guys, before you think we've turned into Black Box, who we absolutely love, we'll move away from the heavy data stuff. And thanks to Scout, this is all their data, by the way, and show some Rob T graphics. Again, big man, I'm going to come to you for this. Rob T is a must-follow Twitter account. This is usually as detailed as we go on this channel for data. Rob's graphics really help steer some of our tight decisions when we're talking top projected goals. Salah, Isak, but Raul Jimenez at number 3. I guess that's why you're tempted. Slightly above, about 10% higher than Welbeck, your other big decision there on wildcard, on free hit, big man.
Exactly. I mean, you see he's going to be nailed for minutes. His projected goals are fine. So I see sort of little reason to now overlook him when you know that he's going to play. The fixture is as good as it gets. I don't really want to overthink this one personally. Penalties as well. Too many things in his favor, I reckon.
Dean, any on this list you think are higher than they perhaps should be? What's your take there on Raul Jimenez versus Southampton? Comments in the chat that you don't Fulham your free hit, Sessegnon or Raul Jimenez or Iwobi.
Yeah, I mean, I might put one of them in my team, but I don't know whether I'll play them. I mean, Fulham just don't play especially well against teams that play a low block. So unless Southampton are going to come out for the last few games and actually try to entertain their fans, Fulham will find it hard. Already struggled once against Southampton this season at home. Fulham do tend to be able to open up a bit more away from home, so that would give me a bit more hope. And Jimenez, I think, will want to finish the season with a bang. Like a few weeks back when we went into the internationals, like he was absolutely on fire. And I was surprised he wasn't given more opportunity to continue that for Fulham. But Muniz continued to get the shirt. But I think Jimenez will look to take up this opportunity. I think Strand Larsen's a good pick. I think that he'll be an underrated one for the Leicester home fixture. But it's a difficult one to get to because you're always going to be swayed towards picking Cunha ahead of him. And I don't think anyone's going to be picking two Wolves forwards. One question I did just see a second ago, not even a question, it was more of a statement. Was from someone just saying that they often see that the triple up on a free hit just doesn't work. What do you guys think about like just almost picking, I don't know, someone from every game, someone from every team? Like, what is the... Should I be getting away from this triple up thing as well? I've been looking at all week, and I want to go all in because I think it's more fun to just like support four teams or whatever across the deck. But maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe I'm making the wrong decision.
Bigman?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily look at it from that point of view. I think if you're making informed decisions and if you think that respective player that you're buying is the best in that respective position, then I would have no problem going for a triple up. For example, with Newcastle, I do feel that their defenders are better than the other defenders. So even if I'm doubling up on defense along with Isak, then I don't necessarily see a problem. I think this is something that often comes down to hindsight. If you triple up on a tag, it doesn't triple up on a team, it doesn't do well. It can look poor in hindsight, but as long as the thought process is fine, I don't mind tripling up on any side.
Yeah, I think for me, it's Bigman. You once told me to just look at decision in isolation. If you're doing that, Wolves players, Newcastle players, Liverpool players, it makes sense this week. Therefore, double, triple, single, investing in the players you think will be in teams that score lots of goals and get comprehensive wins, I think makes sense, and therefore I'm fine with it. So yeah, that's where I'm at. There we go. Okay, we want to get a little bit of something else is coming on. Oh, okay, the same stuff from it's from Rob T. This is actually the graphic I think I prefer because it takes away from just those players for goals, and it looks at is the team going to win and what's the clean sheet, the odds looking like. Favourite for clean sheets, you can see in orange there, Newcastle 46%, Wolves 40%, Liverpool just under 40%. What's interesting here is there's no team above 50%, and unless the team's above 50%, the bookies are saying that team's going to concede. So we might not get any clean sheets. The team usually above 50 is Arsenal. When Arsenal have got a good fixture, you see 55% quite often. With no Man City and no Arsenal this weekend, there's no 50% plus. So, yes, Newcastle could keep it clean. The bookies are still saying they're unlikely to. 46%, 54% saying they'll score Ipswich. So, yeah, that's interesting. Just remember that with free hits. And with clean sheets in general, they can be wiped out even against, a Delap worldie from out of nowhere could ruin your Newcastle day. Should we talk wildcard? Because I need your help, guys. I've been racking weeks. Can we clap Bigman to go draft? Strand Larsen, Dean, you just mentioned. He was actually my wildcard till last night. So I screen grabbed it because I couldn't afford Cunha and I can't invest in players like Cunha for the season long anyway. No. I've taken Strand Larsen out. It was between Bowen and Strand Larsen or Visser and Kluivert. I'm going Visser and Kluivert. The entry point for Brentford isn't good. Like going to City, that is a fixture. If I was on free hit, I'd be avoiding Brentford Forest. I've got 5 players from Brentford Forest because I want Brentford players moving forward. I'm bench boosting in 36, where Brentford have Ipswich and Forest have Leicester. And then in 37, both teams have good fixtures. So I'm going to be in a world of pain this week. Free hitters are absolutely annihilating the 11 we can see on screen. I've got no chance against free hitters, but I've got to just be in it for the longer stretch of over the next 5 weeks. I cannot pick a free hit team. On Wildcard, I've got to think of the next 4 weeks as well as this week. And all the players I've picked, I'm really happy with. I just don't love them this week. But for the next 4, they've all got better weeks than what they have now. And that's why I'm there. I'm leaving enough money in the bank to buy an Aston Villa midfielder. If Villa get the double, we'll know in 35 if they do. That Villa midfielder could be Rashford. Obviously, Rodgers, I don't need money in the bank. I could sell Kluivert or if Kluivert doesn't double, sell him. If he does, sell Jacob Murphy. But I think it's Rashford I really want for that double. I love the upside of a Rashford, so I'm leaving money in the bank to go Murphy, Rashford, worst case scenario with 0.1 buffer if I need it. So yeah, thoughts, big man. I'll come to you first. Any glaring misses from this wildcard or anything you dislike or think I should question?
So I was actually counting the differences to my team, and 8 of them are similar, and
Nice.
7 are different. So I mean, it's a 50-50 call. I completely agree with you when you say, because when I was drafting a wildcard team, the main challenge I had was to not only ensure that we field a good competent 11 this week, but then to ensure that you're loading up on the doublers for 36 as well, yet at the same time ensuring that in 37 you have enough players to field. So I can see why it's a challenge. And I mean, in my draft, I figured out a few ways to counter that challenge. I have Marmoush and Guardiola on the bench as well. I don't think I would pick De Bruyne personally. I think he's taking up too much of the budget and you can spend it around. But I assume you want him as a big differential till the end of the season. So I can already sort of
non-negotiable.
Foresee what you're going to say exactly, and that's exactly what I was going to hear. I knew that. So yeah, I mean, it's a good team, but I feel as if you're leaving too many points out this week, because this team is as you mentioned, is not exactly close to optimal this week. So I think you can potentially look at a better balance for this week. It's fine going forward, but for this week you need a better team, I think.
It's tough. Like, I could go Chelsea, but again, when I look at this team, unlike your wildcard, big man, I've had to plan this with bench boost 36 in mind as well. And players like Chelsea, great this week, but then in 36 and 37, when I need them starting, 2 rotten fixtures. Liverpool, Newcastle players the same. So I've really struggled because I've got bench boost. I need players with good fixtures in 36 and therefore 37 as well. Both goalkeepers, by the way. One of them will get a double and one of them will play in 37. So because Man City if Man City beat Forest, Kepa gets the double. If Man City lose to Forest, Sells gets the double. I won't give you the background to that, but it's very likely those things happen. So I'm guaranteeing a doubling goalkeeper in 36, and therefore I'm guaranteeing a goalkeeper plays in 37. Dean, your thoughts on this team?
I love the colour-coded bench, first and foremost, mate. Lovely wave of light blue going down that wing. And that looks beautiful. I've never seen everybody wearing the same colour, so that looks lovely. I think it's quite risky / brave to go this Brentford heavy for this week. Like, this is such a big game week for Forest. And I know it's difficult with Forest because obviously they got Man City before they even get to the Brentford game, and that's kind of at the back of my mind too. Like, picking like Chris Wood and not knowing if he's definitely going to even be playing, so that's another reason to kind of consider that pick. But once that FA Cup game is out the way, and let's assume that Forest do lose to Man City in the Cup, like, everything is in on beating Brentford. Like, Champions League football, like, is on the line here for Nottingham Forest. They've had an unbelievable season, and I know Brentford are good away from home, and this isn't really a reflection on Brentford as such, but I just feel like there's a lot to lose if Forest go and win that game 1-0, which is very easy to see. So that would be my
I get Nico Williams clean sheet, but that's about it. I'm going to get something by having 5 players in my squad for that one. But yeah, it's a real risky one. The reason I'm big on Brentford is the fixtures after this, as I've just mentioned, are so good and they've got something to play for. I know I want to be invested in Brentford, and I think the triple. So it's Man United, Ipswich, but then Fulham and Wolves. Like, give me a team with a better 4 game.
No, I agree.
I know Forest is a terrible entry point.
Yeah, no, I agree. I had to do a predicted table the other day, and I actually think Brentford make the biggest strides. I think that they could potentially end up in 8th position if, given their fixtures, they could end up jumping Brighton and Fulham, certainly, maybe even Bournemouth, because of that run of games. So
I've got 12 days off now. They're in part 12 days off. Did you see Brentford posted Thomas Frank's dressing room speech at the end of the victory the other day. They would beat Brighton 4-2, and he said, and I watched that and went, I'm going triple on Wildcard. Thomas Frank was inspiring them. He was like, you got time off, go do your running. And I watched that and was like, yeah, I'm fully into this. I'm fully into this. Go on, Brentford, get European football and me some. 12 days off could mean out of rhythm. I think it means good break at this point in the season. But yeah, spin the narrative how you want. Guys, I think I'm locked. I don't think there'll be any changes. I'll let you know in the morning, but I think this is where I'm at. I'm definitely not selling KDB. By the way, I took a -8 last week and bought KDB in. So I've got a slightly cheaper price and Kivior in. And that -8 made me a +15.
Did it?
You take, without that -8, I'm 15 points down. And profit 15 points. I was loving that.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, it was still a bad red arrow. Imagine what it had been like without it. Let's see Bigman's wildcard real quick. And guys, thank you for hitting that like button and subscribing. There's 350 of you watching. We would love you to support the channel, so please do consider subscribing to Chasing Green Arrows if you're not already subbed. And if you're watching on catch up, hopefully you've enjoyed the show. Drop us a comment. So Bigman, your wildcard. Oh, Mikalenko, I did consider him.
I will run you through the team selections one by one.
Nice.
So on the bench this week will be Martinez. Now you mentioned you're guaranteeing sort of a doubler in 36 by picking cells. I think Martinez is potentially a better option because there is a world where Villa and Spurs double and no other team does. So Villa are the most likely team to double, and I think if I was on a wildcard, I'd go with the Villa keeper. I have Mikalenko in place. I won't be starting him this week. He'll be on the bench, but he's in there because Everton are playing Southampton and Ipswich in game week 5 and 35 and 37 at home respectively. So he rotates really well with the rest of the defense. And then on the bench will be Guardiola and Marmoush this week, right? That now let me come to the 11. Keeper will be Sanchez at home to Everton. Trippier and Livramento, very similar to what I have on the free hit. Then Aït-Nouri, again, basically my free hit defense. Then in midfield, Kluivert will be on the bench. Sorry, Semenyo will be on the bench. Mbomo will start, Palmer will start, Salah will start, Kluivert will start. So the only difference is Mbomo as opposed to Luis Diaz, who I had on the free hit. And I don't even think that's a huge difference. Now I have picked Mbomo over Luis Diaz in this wild card because Brentford's fixture after 35 are really strong, and he'll be a transfer in for most teams. So by picking Mbomo right now, you're basically getting yourself a decentish fixture this week and saving a transfer later. Most importantly, I have Semenyo in place because Bournemouth could also double in 36. And obviously that would help later. And in attack, I have Isak, Welbeck, and Cunha as my forwards, which again are very similar to a free hit. You can pick Raul if you want over any of them for very similar reasons. So this is the team I've gone for. I think it optimizes this week while ensuring that you get enough players for the double in 36 and enough for in 37 as well.
It definitely outscores my wildcard this week for sure. Like, this looks close to a free hit team, as you've mentioned. No Marmoush. I know why you've not gone KDB, but no Marmoush and Cunha.
I would like to mention there's an error in the graphic here. I have Marmoush over Cunha. Right?
Yeah,
so
okay.
And
you'd worry about Cunha's minutes moving forward, I guess.
Yes, exactly. I didn't have Cunha in this draft. It was Marmoush.
Yeah, okay, fine. Similar price points, if not the same. Cool. Big man's giving me food for thought. It's a tough one. There's no right and wrong here. Martinez was in a lot of my teams. I had Martinez and Sells who rotate, but it's just too much money and I needed the cash. I've just got to hope that Man City do get that double if they win. As you say, we could see a world in which Aston Villa double and City don't. If City beat Forest, I feel like they should, but who knows with the Premier League schedulers. Dean, any final thoughts from you on those wildcarding in our teams?
No, I mean, obviously you are preparing yourself well for you got your bench boost set up and you got the double game week. So you are like by holding this chip back, like you are giving yourself a good chance here at this final run, and that's why it's like even more pressure on. I mean, this is my last chip. My free hit chip is my last chip, and so it's got to go well. So when it doesn't on Monday, well, you'll see how that felt. But yeah, I'm kind of dreading the weekend, to be honest. I mean, last game week was quite like watching the games play out last week was disappointing. My game week ended up okay, like 85 points or something, but Glasner saved me and stuff. Mateta
Yeah.
saved me by getting the Glasner points and stuff. So yeah, I just want to enjoy the games when I'm watching them this weekend. Like, I don't want to just sit there moaning for 2 hours. So let's see where we're at on Monday, mate. But I think we're all a bit better off than we were an hour ago.
Yeah, and Big Man, I guess my summary on your wildcard versus mine is we would be if I was at your rank, my wildcard might look more like yours, but I've purposely, consciously had to choose a different chip strategy because I've had the worst season ever. And I don't care if I finish 300k or 500k. Like, that makes no difference. I'm chasing still a top 100k finish, and I know it's super unlikely, but to get there, I need to go proper different. And therefore, with my wildcard picks like Visser, Annenbermer, and Collins, I've just got to chase differentials. And what I'm doing, I'm betting against the template even more with my selection as well as my chip strategy. So yeah, for me, it'll be the third time I've finished outside the top 100k in 13 years or 14 years if you include this one. If I don't do it, and I don't think I'm going to do it, but I've got to give myself a shot by going different. So I guess that's where I'm at. Big Man, any final thoughts from you? We'll be back again tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.
Yeah, looking forward to the game week. Actually, let's see if my draft changes, but I think I'm sort of getting closer to finalizing it, and hopefully we can answer some good questions tomorrow.
Yeah, that show tomorrow, guys. We haven't had time for questions today, but come back in the morning, 8 till 9 UK time. Remember, the deadline isn't till 11, so we're going 3 hours before the deadline, just for an hour before all the other YouTubers start. Come and watch us at 8 a.m. I'm also going to try and go live on my channel at 7:30 and bring some viewers over. So, guys, we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Happy FPLing. Dean, good luck this game week. Big Man, you too. We'll be back as always on Monday to review the game week just gone. I'm just checking to see if there's Monday night football this week. No, there's Thursday night football. So I've got to wait for my 11-player free hit. Sorry, what team? With Nottingham Forest Brentford, where I've got 5 players, 4 in the 11, till Thursday. Great.
Mm-hmm. Very weird.
Can't wait for all the mid-game week ranks that I'm going to see of Gianni's at this rank. I'm like, yeah, half my team hasn't played. I know it's bad, but guys, thank you as always for the love. You've been amazing in the Chasers. Happy birthday, Maliki, if you're still watching. We will see you again first thing in the morning. Bye-bye.